first book, Creative Mind, in 1918. And so we're celebrating that all year with some of his most well-known books. This month is this thing called You. Next month is Can We Talk to God? And so the theme for this month was Rooted in the Divine. The first Sunday, I talked about bloom where you are planted, which was really about the words that Ernest Holmes says that you have to start where you are. I know most of us would like to be more evolved. Most of us don't want to be less evolved. Most of us want to be more evolved, and sometimes we have somebody that we use as an inspiration. But we always have to remember that we can never follow anyone else's path. There's only our path. We can only fully stand in where we are regarding our circumstances, our experiences, our life conditioning. So we get to be clear about what that is for us. And I talked about that. And then the week after, it was about personalizing the impersonal, which is sometimes another word for God or universe, the impersonal, the invisible. And we personalize it. The question is, are we conscious? How do we do this, and how can we do it more powerfully? Then last week I talked about will. I talked about my will, your will versus God's will, and how they are not separate. They are one. But if they're not aligned, then we suffer and struggle. When they're aligned, we're in this nice flow of life and everything is unfolding, which is never the same, right? It's always a process. And this week, the topic is from Yoda. I'm not a Star Wars fan, so I've never seen him say it. Well, I have on little blips of things. But he says, do or don't, right? Do or don't do. Do or do not. There is no try. So that's why when you say to somebody in this spiritual community, I'm trying, that they say, BS, belief system, right? That it's not really, trying is not something, right? You're either doing or you don't do. And so it's really about a level of honesty that you need on the spiritual path. Because if we don't have that level of honesty, then what path are we really on is the question. And so there's other ways to say that, right? What Yoda said, do or don't do, there is no try. What's another way to say that? And I know we don't swear in here, but occasionally we say the kind of words that are on the edge. Get off the stove. That's him.
Cook or get off the stove.
Oh, cook or get off the stove. Thank you. I didn't know that one. I never heard that. Cook or get off the stove. What else? Shit or get off the pot. That was the one. That was my original topic. But I no, especially newcomers like, oh. What else?
Fish or cut bait.
Fish or cut bait. Anything else? Actions speak louder than words. Yeah, these are all things that we know, right? It's really about making a commitment. To make a commitment. At the root of the word commit is the word pledge, is the word entrust, is the word carry out, is to be dedicated to something. That means that we have to pay attention and kind of get clear and say, well, what am I committed to? What am I pledging? What am I carrying out? If you don't know, just look at your life, it will tell you. Look at how you view the world, it will tell you. Look at your opinions, they will tell you. Look at your belief system, it will tell you. Not from a point of shame, because that doesn't work, because it creates a whole other bunch of doo-doo, but from the place of gathering information, becoming aware, becoming conscious, saying, what do I believe? And then working with that in case you say, well, there's some room for tweaking here, that you go about doing that work. Today is a very big holiday in the Christian world. Palm Sunday. I grew up as a very devout Catholic girl. You can't imagine me as a devout Catholic girl, right? I almost got thrown out. Because I insisted to be an altar boy. And when they told me I couldn't, my mind said, I'm out. But I love so much about Catholicism. I believe you never throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's so much about it that I loved, and I loved Palm Sunday, and I loved Easter, and not just because I got a new dress. But there was something magical about it because it was spring, and it was a new beginning, and Palm Sunday was all about celebration, and Jesus coming on a donkey into Jerusalem, and people waving palm leaves, and people celebrating and coming together. Well, metaphysically, Palm Sunday represents letting go of attachments, surrendering and stepping into our true new life, not knowing exactly what that was going to be. Palm Sunday is all about intention and commitment. It's about awakening to that collective responsibility that we have to one another. How interesting that many of you just came off a very powerful march that's not so different from Palm Sunday. The March for Our Lives is a whole new movement that says, this is where I'm going, this is what I want to live in a world that's safe for me, my family, my friends, my children, and the world. And so millions of people, I'm guessing, took to the streets and said, we demand a better world and we are going to create it. Not so different from Palm Sunday. And yes, between Palm Sunday and Easter, the rebirth, the renewal is only a week. This is probably going to take a little bit longer than a week. But it's important to say, where is my commitment? And not look for outcome, not look for assuredness, but stand in that with our faith. Because you and I are alive. We have incarnated as souls in this human experience to fulfill our potential. That's the only reason that you and I are alive. The only reason that you and I decided, and I know most of you don't remember that, to incarnate as a human being, to be born at this time, is because the world is showing you how to live to your fullest potential. And it's not about saying, you're not in your full potential, because it's never about pointing fingers at anyone or anything. It's always saying, what is mine to be? What is mine to do? How am I to serve? What is mine to heal? What is mine to overcome? What attachments am I to release, dissolve, and heal? And what happens is when you make a commitment to realize your full potential, do you know what is going to hit the fan? I've said that word now 3 times. I think that means something. 3 times, you know, it's a magical number, right? But you know that when you make a commitment, that stuff comes up. Just ask any newlyweds. Well, a year later. Right? Just ask anyone that says, oh, I want to be abundant, or I want this new job, or I want this new house. Once you're there, there's stuff that comes up, sometimes before it, that challenges you to see what you're really committed to, what you really believe. And then sometimes people give up. They say, well, that doesn't work, I'm not doing that. And that's the biggest setback. Because that's when we crawl back into our attachments, our limitations, and mostly fear. And so we're asked to stand more solidly grounded in the truth, in the spiritual principles that we learn. One of my favorite quotes is almost 300 years old by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, who said, and most of you have heard this because it's everywhere, so if you know it, hear it with new eyes. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents, meetings and material assistance which no one could have dreamed would have come his way. When we make a commitment to something, we must know that the universe rushes in to support us, and we must trust it. So ask yourself quietly in your own mind and heart, where do I hesitate? Where do I not commit, not trust? Where am I stuck? Where am I in limbo? And we are all there. All of us, including myself, have a place where we might be stuck, where we get stuck, where we hesitate, where we are in limbo, where we are not sure. And you know what that is when it's distilled down to the source? It's just fear. It's just fear. We all have fear. We just don't like to be conscious of it because it's uncomfortable to feel fear. So we drink it away, we drug it away, we sex it away, we shop it away, we consume it away, we run away. And one way to do it is to tell everybody how busy you are. The latest addiction. I don't have enough time, I'm so busy. That's just fear. It's just the way it manifests. So pay attention, because on the flip side of commitment, fear turns to faith. And faith must transform fear. So we go back to the spiritual principles. Fear is just there to be dissolved. It's just there for you to see your potential realized. It's just there to inform you. It's just there to unpack. Because if we don't pay attention to that, then we just stay in that limbo. And so, we can ask that, we can explore that with anything. But I'm going to explore it with something really specific. Because today there's a discovery class which is for anyone. It's just a fun class. So whether you've done it 10 times or not, doesn't matter, just come. It's a free class where we talk about you, and we talk about this teaching, and we talk about the center, and we talk about membership, if that's something you're interested in. I just heard a story of somebody who was a practitioner in the 90s, and she took the practitioner class 7 times before she decided she wanted to be a licensed practitioner. That's commitment. So I want to ask a specific question to kind of explore this a little bit. Why do you, who have taken classes or are taking classes here at the center right now, why do you take a class? Why?
Because it's a touch point or a reminder.
It's a touch point, a reminder for you.
To grow.
To grow.
Grow as a person.
To grow as a person.
To on track.
To keep you on track.
To heal.
To heal.
It operationalizes.
It operationalizes the teaching.
To grow in consciousness.
To grow in consciousness.
To become aware.
To better use spiritual law.
To become aware.
To become aware. So any of you who've taken the classes this year in 2018, for a moment stand. Those of you who are sitting, and by the way, this is not a shame exercise or a judgment exercise, FYI. These are the people that just finished classes, and I know that they're touched and their lives are different. So those of you who are sitting, just ask them more about the classes if you want to know. So take a seat. I know many more that would get to stand because most of you have taken classes at some point in time, but I just want you to see those people. So I have another question. Why do you not take classes? Be honest. Why do you not take classes?
Too busy.
Too busy. Don't have time. What else?
Can't afford it.
Can't afford it. Don't have the money for it.
Sometimes you need a break to let it all absorb.
Yeah, sometimes you just need a break to just digest it all. I'm with you, girl. That's true. What else?
Scheduling.
Scheduling. Yeah, there's some real reasons. I honor that. What else? There's a lot of options out there. Why should I come here for 10 weeks and pay $200 and some and give up my time if I can sit naked in front of my computer, or in my pajamas, in front of my computer? I get it. At home, on my couch, with my bunny, or my dog or my cat, my snacks. Yes. I would say that behind all those reasons, which I think are very reasonable, because each person really needs to decide for themselves and needs to be at peace with it. Again, remember, no shame, no judgment. But some of these reasons are fear. Some of the excuses that we have are fear. When it comes to classes and money, we offer scholarships. We don't have 20 of them, but we offer some. There's always a way. And when it comes to time, right now we have a morning class and an evening class, and people sometimes flip to one or the other. But I would say that behind it is some kind of fear, some kind of hesitancy, some kind of limbo. Sometimes it's excuses. Somebody said to me recently, well, I took that class 10 years ago. I don't know about you, but I'm a very different person now than I was, I would say yesterday, but a week ago, a year ago. And I love teaching the same class because I get to study and I always get something fresh and new, right? And so we pay attention to where we stand and we clear the fears that are in the way. And I recently had a big aha. Do you realize that right now, the time that we live in and the culture that we live in and the land that we live in, fear is a commodity, that the collective consciousness wants you to be afraid because it's a form of control and it's also the way that people spend money. Think of some of the things that you spend money on that have the representation of fear. Just think for yourself. And I thought, oh, that's so interesting. So we commit ourselves to something that grows us, that expands us, that allows us to stand more solidly grounded in the truth, and that brings us that level of healing and growth that we so long for. And so there's a couple of ways that I want to share in closing of what they are. In order for us to make a greater commitment to our potential, to our true nature, and to what we love, we have to sacrifice something. We don't like to sacrifice anything. Bless you. But let me remind you that the word sacrifice comes from to make sacred. What is it inside of you or in your world or in your life that you would long to have be more sacred? And what's required of you to make that so? What movement is required of you? Then we pay attention to where we feel afraid, knowing that it's the soul's way to grow your faith. And that there are ways to do that, and there's lots of support here at the center. We ask ourselves, how can I be more rooted in the truth? We ask ourselves, how can I surrender to the divine process that is already taking place within me? What do I have to let go of? And how can I trust? Even when things are really bad, you can ask yourself, how can I trust that which holds the ground beneath my feet, that which flows through my very being, that which supports me, that which makes sure that spring comes after winter and not fall, that which makes sure that the sun rises every morning and sets every night. How can I trust that for myself? How can I let go of whatever is in the way and then commit to that? Because once we commit to it, doors open, and there's a new flow that takes place. Just listen to all the inspiration from the March for Our Lives. And this poem by Jalaluddin Rumi, the 12th century, Jalaluddin Rumi, the 12th century poet. What is the path? A self-sacrificing way, but also a warrior's way, and not for brittle, easily broken, glass bottle people. I love that line. A warrior's way, not for brittle, easily broken, glass bottle people. The soul is tested here by sheer terror as it sifts and separates genuine from fake. And this road is full of footprints. Companions have come before. They are your ladder. Use them. Without them, you won't have the spirit quickness you need. Even a dumb donkey crossing a desert becomes nimble-footed with others of its kind. Stay with the caravan, but be yourself. You'll get 100 times more tired. By yourself, you'll get 100 times more tired and fall behind. Let me repeat that last line. Freudian slip. Stay with the caravan. By yourself, you'll get 100 times more tired and fall behind.